Hello, hello, hello. I'm home. We're home. I just picked up the pups from the kennel. Come here. Who wants to come here? Tucker, do you want to come here? Oh, Tucker said, I'll show off. So they all got grooms. Well, they got baths. They got blowouts and baths, didn't they? And nail trims. They all got nail trims and baths and bandanas. They look so sweet. PB ran right upstairs and got into bed. It's so funny. Come here, Boo Radley. Boo Radley said, I want to show off too, Dad. Isn't he so sweet? Are you so happy to be home? He said, I'm very happy to be home, Dad. Yeah, come kiss. Come kiss. You're so sweet. It is pouring down rain in Indianapolis. Here's my new hat for the duration. And yeah, it's pouring down rain in Indianapolis. So apparently we brought the rain home with us. And I did not leave my lip balm on the plane as I thought. I found, it's almost out though, look. It's like almost at the very end. It was in the front of my bag. So, it's pouring down rain and it is really, really windy outside. Tucker's just like staring at me. And yeah, so it was fun. I got to see Tanya for a little bit, talk to her husband. He showed me all these pictures. He went on a snowmobile trip through Yellowstone, National Park, and it was beautiful. So he was showing me all those pictures. Went and picked up my epilepsy medicine, and yeah, that's about it. That's been about the day today so far. Posted my video with Loie. She posted hers, and I don't know, that's about it. Alex is coming home. Oh, look who it is. Look who came downstairs. Come here. Come here. Come here. The people want to see you, Pee-Pee. Come here, Pee-Pee. Come here. He's making me chase him all over. Aw, little Pee-Pee. He said, I'm happy. Are you happy to be home? Can I have a kiss? Aw. He's so happy to be home. He said, I'm so happy to be home. And his little bandana, isn't he so sweet? They're excited for their dad. Their dad's going to come home in about half an hour. And Alex said he is exhausted because we didn't get in until so late last night that he is ready to go to sleep. So, yeah. I'm going to get off here and I'm going to unpack and start doing some laundry. And then I am going to... What? Oh, you guys want treats. That's what it is. Okay. Everybody can have a treat. Hold on a second. Let me break these treats in half. Okay. Okay, here you go. Pee-Pee's straight there, straight. Okay. So I'm gonna start unpacking here in a little bit and doing some laundry and getting my laundry done. What's going on with this bag? I unpacked my carry-on bag down here, which that's always like the big thing for me. The rest of it's just like, I took my shoes out and like my, do you guys call, I have a question for you. My dad always called it a dop kit, like what you put like your toothbrush and everything in when you travel. And everybody else I know calls it a cosmetics bag, which, I mean, now I, like cosmetics, but I guess like, I never called it that when I was growing up. I always called it a dop kit. So I did that last night in my shoes. And then other than that, I haven't, I have to unpack the rest of it. So I'm going to do that and get some laundry started. And we're just going to kind of hang out tonight and not really do a whole lot. I'm going to, if I get going here in a second, I'm going to take a shower and film my booktube video and my Peterisms video for today. Because I haven't posted on that like in a week. So I want to get that done. And then tomorrow it's back to posting videos on all of my channels. And I have a review video that I want to do tomorrow. So, well, I actually have a lot of review videos that I want to do. And coming back, my goal is to really get back on that channel regularly. So, well, all of them, but that one definitely. So I have some really fun reviews that I want to do. But tomorrow is a Valentine's Day review, kind of. So, anyway, I will be back in just a little bit. Bye. Stop it. All right. I finally get to relax for a second, take my shoes off. It's about 6:15 and I have been running around. I haven't worn this hat in forever. I used to wear this hat a lot. And I got a bunch of emails answered that I had to answer for stuff. And then I unpacked. My laundry's in the washing machine right now. Alex is probably on his way home. Well, he usually leaves work around this time, so maybe he hasn't left yet. And that's about it. I'm getting really, really hungry. So I don't know. I'm gonna see if he wants to maybe get something to eat. Come on, Boo Radley. I'm gonna see if you smell so good. You smell so good. I think he's so sweet. He's so happy to see his dad. So I'm gonna go and maybe get something to eat with him, or we'll probably bring something back here. I'm starving. I actually lost weight on this trip to Los Angeles. Maybe it was all of the plant-based veggie burgers, I don't know. I mean, I didn't lose a whole lot, but I like weighed myself this morning. I hadn't weighed myself, you know, since I left. I was like, this is kind of strange. But anyway, so I'm gonna get something to eat. And then I was gonna post a bunch of videos today, but it's already late. And so I'm just like, I'm gonna start it tomorrow and just take today and relax and, right? Hang out with the babies. They're so sweet. And just watch some TV and stuff like that. I still have half of The Wife to watch with Glenn Close, so I want to watch the rest of that. And yeah, that's just about it. Just like, it's really, really windy. I can see all the trees like blowing. I should like open the back door so you guys can hear it. It's really kind of pretty. What are you doing? You wanna go outside, Boo Radley? Okay. Tucker will come down here in just a second, watch. Can you hear it out there? Isn't it so pretty? Look at the sky, it's kind of like, almost kind of like a bluish color. So yeah. Oh, and there's Mr. Pee-Pee. Everybody's outside, just kind of running around. So, yeah. I just want to have a relaxing night. It's so nice to, it's really, oh, hello, Mr. Tucker. Oh, my husband's calling me right now. I'll be right back. Okay, so he's on his way home, and we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do for dinner. Hello, Mr. Pee-Pee. Hello, Mr. Boo Radley. Come on, Tucker, come up here. Tucker. What? What? He's so funny. I can't pet all three. I can't pet all three of you. Here, sit in my lap. There you go. And then Boo Radley sit next to me. Oh my god. It's a house of dogs and I love it. I missed you guys so much. Oh, look at that little baby. Such a good boy. You're such a good boy, aren't you? Yeah? Oh, thank you. I don't even know what I'm hungry for. I'm actually kind of hungry for a veggie burger. And, yeah! I'm not really sure. It sounded like the washing machine just went off. I don't think it's been in there that long. There you go. They like came home and like chugged all the water right away because I had that filled up. What was I gonna say? I don't know that I really want to go to Cheesecake Factory tonight, but they have this Impossible Burger there that I had when I was in LA, so that could be something. And then I talked to my friend Valerie about possibly meeting up later at the casino, so we might do that. It's been a while. And I haven't seen her in forever. Hi, Valerie! Valerie! She watches all the vlogs. Come on, Boo. There you go, honey. He says, Dad, I want all the attention. And this one wants all the attention, too. I asked Alex, I said, what do you want to do tonight? And he goes, nothing. I said, well, are you hungry? He goes, well, I just had some chili for lunch, so I could... Oh, baby. What are you doing over there? Are you scratching? He goes, I could go out to eat. I was like, okay, well, we'll go out to eat then if you want, or we'll bring it back. Or I kind of like to just bring it back here. I don't feel like I look very pretty. But I guess it doesn't really matter. Come on, honey. Hold on a second. Come here. I can't reach you. Come here. Oh, there you go, bud. Okay, so Boo Radley is literally scratching his back on my back. Oh my God, I can't believe that it rained the whole time that we were in LA and it was like sunny and 60 here, and now we're back and it's supposed to drop to like below degree temperatures because of the wind chill tonight going into tomorrow morning, and it's like so windy outside. It's crazy. But I am gonna try to get my vlog done early tonight because I wanna get it done and I wanna get it rendered, and then I wanna just like, spend some time with Alex, and well, I'm not gonna do the whole vlog right now. I'll probably do it a little bit later. Watch, I'll say this and then it'll be like 3 o'clock in the morning the next time you guys see me. I'll be like, hi, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I slept, I totally crashed out. Boo Radley, do you want a hoodie that says totally crashed out? He said, I'm okay. I'm okay, I don't need that. Boo Radley, have you ever been to Los Angeles? We went to Los Angeles. He goes, oh, I go to Los Angeles all the time. You go to Los Angeles all the time? What do you do there? Oh, he said, I have all kinds of friends there. I'm a movie star. Who's your friends out there? He said, I know all those dogs that were in Beverly Hills, Chihuahua. You do? He said, oh, yes. I'm quite famous in the party scene out there. They all know me. Why are you so famous? I have my SAG card. Don't even worry about it. What are you famous for? Have you done any roles? I've done a few. I like to stay incognito. Incognito. Don't even worry about it. What's your favorite movie ever, Boo Radley? He goes, To Kill a Mockingbird, of course. Really? He said, I love that movie so much. What's your second favorite movie? He goes, duh, Urban Cowboy. Why Urban Cowboy? He said, oh, I love that Deborah Winger. She's so pretty. He said, I always wanted to be a cowboy. You want to be a cowboy? He goes, well, why do you think I go to Texas all the time for the boot, scoot, and boogie? Did you go to Mickey Gilley's bar? He said, oh, yes. He said, I rode that, what is it? What's that thing called out there that they have? What is it? I can't think of it. What's it called? A bull? Oh, I rode that bull. I stayed on it 22 minutes. They'd never seen anything like it. Can you imagine Boo Radley? Look at him. Woo! Up on the bull. Were you do? Woo! He said, Dad, you're an idiot. What? What is it? What is it? What? He's like, I'm just making sure it's really you, Dad. I'm just making sure. Oh, Lord, you're dancing and things. You're so excited. What's going on over there? Yeah, we're going to take a nap in a little bit, maybe. When Dad comes home. They love, if I said the word, like, do you guys want to go NAP, they would run upstairs. They know that word. You do, don't you? He said, yeah, I talk pretty much. Well, this is why I can never film any videos. Because I love my dog so much. Now Pee-Pee's up. He's moving around. I love my dog so much. I love my dog so much. Did you have fun hanging out with Karma? Karma is Tanya's dog. Well, one of her dogs. Did you have fun? Oh, look at my little guy. Did you have fun hanging out with Karma? You did? She's nice, isn't she? Pee-Pee said, I know Karma. He said, I know Karma so well. Boo Radley jumped, and then Pee-Pee jumped over him, and I shut the camera off by accident, so. Never a dull moment in the house of Pee-Pee. Pee-Pee thinks this is his house. You do, don't you? Think this is your house? He said, I sure do. Look at his little hairs turning gray. Oh, look at those ears. You have the prettiest ears in the whole world. You know that, honey? Yeah. Yeah, and you too. And you too, Tucker. Come here. Yeah. Yeah. They're so... I mean, how could you not want all this loving? How could you not want all this loving? Where are you trying to get to? He said, just here, sitting on your lap. Oh, I miss these guys so much. Eric, Tanya's husband, was like, are you ready to move to LA? And I said, no, not at all. I said, I mean, I loved it. I had fun. I said, it's just real fast paced out there, you know? I said, I guess I realize I'm a little slower than all of that. Yeah. I love my dogs and what? What? I love my dogs and leaving the door open and we just walk in and out, and driving around with Tanya, hanging out with my husband, watching movies and Netflix and all kinds. What? He says, you're giving Boo Radley, you're giving him more than you're giving me. Tucker. Okay. We're done with it. We're done with it. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Now, so anyway, I don't know what I'm hungry for. I'm really hungry though. Pasta sounds good too. Well, maybe because it's just like it's colder outside and kind of like craving pasta, yeah. Yeah. What are you guys hungry for? You don't know? You don't know? Are you so happy to be home? Did you guys have fun? Aunt Tanya said you guys had some. Look at Pee-Pee is like, I have to show you, this is so funny. He's like in between. Can you see it? It's so funny. Look. Come on. All fighting for my attention. All right, well, we're gonna get off here and figure out what we're doing. And Alex will be home in just a couple minutes. And yeah, and then we're gonna go get something to eat probably, right? Right, guys? All right, so I'll be back a little bit later. Bye. Hello, I'm back. And I am currently trying to go meet my friend Valerie at the casino. But the second I got on the interstate, I mean, all of these police cars and ambulances, it was probably like 10 police cars. I mean, I am not exaggerating right now. Like 10 police cars, maybe 4 or 5 ambulances, 2 or 3 fire trucks. Like I could see them as I was getting on the interstate. They were like coming and getting on behind, like I had to like move over, like they were coming around. And as I got on the interstate, more were coming. I was like, what is going on? And now I'm like stuck in gridlock traffic. There's more police officers coming. This is crazy. Man, this is bad. I hope people are okay. Can you hear this? Do you know when you hear the, like you see those movies, at the beginning of the movies, like when catastrophic stuff is happening? This is what it feels like. What is that noise? Oh, that's a fire truck trying to get over. Okay, that's a fire truck trying to get in. And people are not letting him over. Well, I'm over as far as I can get over. You know what's interesting to me about this is that like people are not wanting to get over so that they can get around them. Is that not crazy? I'm like so close to an exit. I don't know why people are not just getting off at this exit unless it happened on the exit. But like if I was anybody, I would just be getting off at this exit right here. I mean, it literally must have happened right in front of me. Oh, you know what? This is going to be really sad. It says work crew ahead. I bet somebody piled through construction area site. Oh, people are getting onto this. Oh my God, there are so many cars, you guys. Doesn't really look like there's any accident here. What's going on? Oh, 3, 4 cars. Yeah, but it didn't look like anybody was hurt. They were all standing outside their car. Well, that's good. I wonder what happened. That's weird. Well, it wasn't a construction zone. Oh, good. I'm glad that nobody was hurt. It was like 2 cars facing back this way, and then like 2 cars facing the other way, and they were all like, it like looked like they had all smashed into each other. Well, I wonder why it required so many police cars, ambulances, on and on and on and on. I was listening to a podcast. I heard that somebody had mentioned me on their podcast, so I was listening to it. I'm very much getting into the podcast now. I'm becoming, you know, I'm becoming trendy with the podcast. No. I listen to My Favorite Murder, but that's really like my only podcast that I listen to. Sometimes I listen to, I used to listen to Psychobabble by Tyler Oakley. I don't ever listen to that anymore. And then there were a couple others that I used to listen to, but I don't listen to those anymore either. People recommend podcasts to me all the time. I don't know why I don't listen to more podcasts. As I was sitting here, I was kind of like, I really like this. And y'all know I want to start a podcast. I'm thinking I'm going to start a podcast this year. So, I don't really know how I'm going to do it though, but it'll be this summer probably. So, I think it'll be fun. I like doing it. I mean, it'd just be like sitting there talking. So anyway, yeah. I have to get those microphone things and stuff. Oh my God, to get microphones, and then, wouldn't that be fun? Anyway, I don't know what we would talk about on there. Do you guys listen to podcasts? If you listen to podcasts, list your favorite podcast below, but don't put like that Seth Rogen, because I don't listen to him. I tried to listen to him, but I can't. Like all of the ones that like my friends listen to, like all of like my straight guy friends, all of them listen to like the same 2 or 3 like podcasts, and they're always like, oh my God, you would love them, they're so funny. And I try to listen to them. I'm like, okay, we obviously have different senses of humor, because I don't think this is very funny. But anyway, I'm on the way to the casino to go meet Valerie. Alex was finishing up Dynasty when I left, and he was like half falling asleep on the couch. I was like, just go to bed, babe. He was like, I'm going to in a second. He'll probably watch another show. He pushes himself. He's like, I'm so behind on all my TV shows. That's what he said at dinner tonight. He's like, I'm so behind on all of my TV shows. And so then he pushes himself to catch up and watch these shows, and then he stays up late, and then he's tired the next day for work, which he already didn't get a lot of sleep last night, but he has to go in later tomorrow, so he's not too worried about staying up late, I'm sure. But he has his second to last chiropractor appointment tomorrow. His back stuff, we were talking about it tonight, is like so improved. He's like, I don't even have any of the back pain that I had before. He was like, all of this stuff has like really helped. So he goes in tomorrow, and then next week he has his evaluation on like how he's doing. But he's like, I think it's probably like he goes, I can't imagine it'll be like, you know, a bad evaluation. It's been going so well. We went to Cheesecake Factory. I had the Impossible Burger, and it was delicious. And we also got to start this like new cheese bread that they had. It was so delicious, you guys. If you go, you have to get it. It's so good. And it was fun. And then we came home, and I cleaned up around the kitchen a little bit, and I got some more laundry done. And then I laid down with the pups for an hour because he wanted to watch a show. So I was just like, you You know, it's funny, like, when I was growing up, you know, my mom had a TV in her bedroom, and then we had, like, a TV downstairs. And this was, like, growing up. We had, like, a small... well, this is before cable. We didn't have cable. Okay, so I don't know if I've talked about this on here, but my mom refused to get cable when I was growing up. So, like, going to my dad's house was always a special treat because my mom would not get cable. She refused. She said it was a waste of money. So we just had regular stations, which was fine. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff to watch, but when I would go to my dad's house, I was, like, obsessed with, like, watching movies on HBO and stuff like that. You know, as a movie lover, I would go over there and I'd be so excited about, you know, what I could watch on movies and stuff. And, but at my mom's house growing up, like, I had a TV in my bedroom, but I think I just had, like, a VCR hooked up to it. I don't think I ever watched anything on it or anything. And, then and then we had a TV in the, like, the porch, and the TV in the kitchen. We got a small little itty bitty TV in there. And then we had a TV, my mom had a TV in her bedroom. But it was like a really, I think it was like a really small, no, it wasn't a small TV because she watched movies and the news in there a lot. And then there was a TV, like, in the guest bedroom. And then, yeah. But, like, these were all, like, shitty TVs. Like, we didn't have good TVs when I was growing up. I literally, okay, so I have a take-home Dr. Pepper right here, and I have my coffee from earlier, which has an extra shot of espresso in it, because they were having some kind of, like, shot challenge, like, espresso shot challenge, to see which person, like, barista could sell the most shots. And because he had said to me when I went through, he goes, do you want an extra shot of espresso in there? And I never get any shots of espresso in mine. Back in the day, I used to get, it's called, like, a red eye or something. It's like 4 shots, and that's what I used to drink. Can you even imagine with me? But, so when I went to the window, I was like, because it was this kid that works in there. He's a really nice kid. He's probably 28. But anyway, real nice guy. He's been in my review. Evan, he was on my review channel. But anyway, I said, you never asked me if I want a shot. And he said, you know, a shot of espresso. And he said, yeah, well, we're doing this, like, challenge to see who can sell the most shots. And I go, well, put a shot in there for me. I said, I'll get a shot if it's going to help you. He goes, really? I go, yeah. I go, put a shot in there. I'll do a shot of espresso if it'll help you win. He goes, oh my God, you're so nice. I was like, it's nice, it's cool, whatever. But anyway, I love that stuff. Make somebody's, work day easier. They can possibly win a challenge, or something. I think that kind of stuff is fun. But anyway, so yeah, then I would go to my dad's house, and my dad had, like, a big screen TV in the basement, and they had a really nice TV in their bedroom, and then a shitty TV in the kitchen that didn't have cable. Like, do you remember that? Like, when you would grow up, and, like, you'd have, like, 1 or 2 TVs that would have cable, but then, like, some TVs that wouldn't have cable. Do you guys remember that? My dad had all the movie channels and stuff, so I was just, like, so excited when I would, go to my dad's house. And I can remember, like honest to God, I can remember, like, looking up, like, what movies were gonna be on, like, oh, I wanted, like, when I was younger, this is so funny, because I don't even watch Disney. It's not that I don't like Disney movies, I just haven't seen a lot of them. Disney cartoon movies. But there were a lot of Disney movies that I really liked, like Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and, oh shoot, what else? A lot of the Christmas Disney movies. So I would be really excited to see what was going to be on the Disney Channel. I mean, this is more when I was younger, I would say, like, 13, whatever. But I can remember when I even, like, got just a little bit older, I would drink in my bedroom, because my bedroom was on the 2nd floor at the very end of the house, and their bedroom was on the main floor at the other end of the house. So I can remember, they couldn't hear or see anything I was doing. They went to bed so early anyway, that when I would stay with them, I would be in my bedroom drinking, like, watching movies. Like somebody's grandpa upstairs visiting for the weekend. How sad is that? I look back on all that, it's very surreal, I think about, I mean, I don't really get stuck in regret and things like that. Like, there are things I regret in my life, but I don't get stuck in it. I think there's a difference between regretting something and not being able to let go of the regret, if that makes sense, you know? And I think sometimes if we're able to learn from the regret, like, well, I regret that this happened, or I regret that I didn't take this opportunity, or I regret that I did this thing, then I think there's something to be learned from that. And therefore, I don't necessarily think that regret is a bad thing. But, you know, when I look back on that, that's not how, and I think this is the part that my mom and dad really struggled with when they found out really how young I was drinking. Because both of them were pretty direct about, you know, like, some of the things that my parents planned out, even going through a divorce, were that they wanted me to be in the same school system all 12 years. It was always very important to them that they knew who my friends were, or that they knew who my friends' parents were. You know, like, that was another part of it. And, you know, all of these things they deliberately did to make sure they parented well. And I still made poor choices because, you know, here it was, they knew all my friends, they knew all my, which I didn't have a lot until high school, you know, and they still knew my friends' parents. They, you know, they knew where I was, but what they didn't know was the real story, that I wasn't just upstairs watching a movie, you know, after they went to bed. I was upstairs getting wasted. And I look back at that, you know, and it's kind of like, it's sad to me that I just wasn't, it was very important for them to keep me age appropriate, you know, and it's sad to me that, like, yeah, like, I mean, I was 13 years old drinking in my bedroom. That's not what 13-year-olds are doing, you know what I mean? And I feel like there's a lot of youth that I missed out on. I remember when I was working in treatment, I've told this story on here before, but, like, it was like family, it was like well, it couldn't have been a family night because it was like a Friday night or something. There was like a football game, but I was like staying late, and I ran up the street to like get food or get a Coke or something, and there was a Burger King right down the street from where the treatment center was that I worked at. And there were like all these kids going through, and, you know, they had like the flags in their car for like the football game, like, you know, showing like school pride and all that kind of stuff. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, Friday nights were always rec nights at where I worked, and they would watch a movie and all this kind of stuff, you know? And I can remember thinking to myself, and the ones that were on a certain level, they would get to, like, go out, and, like, the techs would take them to, like, go do some activity, like skate or go see a movie or something like that. And I can remember thinking to myself, like, this is really sad, you know, that down the street there's, you know, 20 kids that are, like, stuck basically in this institution that they can't get out of because of the choices that they made, when there's all these kids that are, like, doing what you're supposed to do when you're in high school, you know, living your, like, best life in high school. I don't know, it just made me sad, you know, and I think probably a lot of that is me just, like, looking back on my own choices in my own life, too. I mean, I think it's one thing to, I mean, we live in a different world now, you know? I mean, I really believe in like, you know, talking to, like, my friends and their kids that are in high school and stuff like that, that I think that kids are either, like, very age appropriate, or they're, like, drinking, chronically smoking pot, eating pills, like, off the charts, right? Or just chronically smoking pot, like, you know, so many teenagers smoke pot and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, I can understand, like, maybe this is a generation thing, like back in the day when, you know, I'm not condoning it, but I can understand, you know, getting drunk, maybe a couple times in high school, trying pot, you know, maybe even trying some other things that aren't too hardcore. But, like, when it comes to, like, regular use, to where you're 16 years old and you're blacking out consistently, which I was, like, that's not right. Like, there's nothing right about that. You know what I mean? Like, that, what's wrong with that picture? Like, what, it was funny because not funny, haha, but funny, strange. I really want to see the movie Beautiful Boy. And it was actually on the plane. It was like one of the options. And now, you know, you can get it at the Redbox or download it or whatever. But there's like a part of me that's really apprehensive to see the movie. I was like watching the trailer, and there was this scene between the dad and the son, David and Nick Chef, because it's, you know, a real story. And they're like in this restaurant, and the kid is saying something like, I couldn't hear because I didn't have my headphones on at the time. Excuse me, I was just watching the trailer. And the kid is saying something like, I can't continue to do this, or something like that. And the dad is like, I don't even remember that scene in the book, but the kid starts like just getting really edgy and whatever. And like, I mean, I never used meth, which was his drug of choice in the book, but I can remember, it doesn't matter, because I mean, to some degree, a drug is a drug, it's a drug, but the behaviors of coming off of it, or how you would act while you were using, are completely different, right? So I'm watching that scene, and it was just like the energy back and forth, and just, you could tell that the dad was just trying, he was trying, and and it reminded me so much of my dad and I, you know, like, you know, the real gift, I put my dad through so much. Like, he and I talk about this a lot, you know, and my dad is, I mean, it's been 24 years. My dad's not somebody that holds on to stuff like that at all, you know, and he's just, you know, he always, you know, tells me how proud he is of me and things like that, but you do damage, I think. It's like if you take a nail, like, my supervisor used to do this activity where you should have like a piece of wood and like a nail with a hammer, and it's like you take a hammer and you put it, you nail it in, right? You nail it in. Well, if you think about that as being like words that somebody says to you, or behaviors that somebody does that affect you, right? And then you take the nail out. It's like, fill the nail up now. Well, you can't, or fill the hole up. Well, you can't. You can't make that piece of wood the way that it was before. You know, you can put something inside of it like glue, or you can tape over it, or you can make it close to being what it was before, but it will never be exactly what it was before. The damage is done. And you know, I think about that sometimes, like with my dad, like, I mean, it's been so long now, you know, that like, I don't know that I would know what my relationship would be with my dad at 46, like, if I hadn't gone through that. Does that make sense? Like, a relationship is so normal. It's just like us going over there and hanging out. I don't know what it would be like if I hadn't gone through it. Like, I don't know that it wouldn't look identical, if that makes sense. I just said if that makes sense twice. So, I don't know, you know, I don't know if long term, because it has been so long. But I think for me, you know, the gift of recovery is being able to repair that relationship. There were many years my dad did not trust me. Many, many years. You know, I wasn't really allowed over there for a long time after I got sober. I don't know how much of this I've even talked about on here, actually. I wasn't really allowed over there, you know, for many years after I got sober. But I would notice when I was down the road that things would be put up. You know, my stepmom, who had always kept her purse in the kitchen, like on the chair. My stepmom always carries big purses. She would always keep her purse in the kitchen on the chair. Like, she has this, like, you know, rolling chair, like in the desk area. And she'd just keep it on the chair. She no longer kept her purse in the chair. My mom actually moved her purse one time while I was there. She, like, ran up. She said, hold on a second. She took her purse upstairs while I was standing there. And doors would be closed, offices would be locked, just things like that, you know. It's like, even though I was sober, they knew I was going to meetings, they had seen the changes in me, they still couldn't 100% trust it yet, you know. They just couldn't be sure. And I think that's the fear, you know, like, I don't know that I've ever asked my dad, like, what was the point where you thought, okay, I don't have to worry anymore? Like, or was there a point that happened? I don't know that we've had that conversation. Maybe we have, I don't know. We've had so many conversations since I got sober, you know, but, I don't, and maybe there wasn't a moment, you know, when he thought that, like, okay, now I can, you know, let Peter come over here and whatever, and not be worried that he's gonna steal money from me or whatever. Because the thing is that I think he really understood, and my mom obviously did too because of being sober, that it's so not just about the drugs and the alcohol, it's about honesty, it's about respect, you know, it's about doing the right thing, you know. There's a saying in recovery that's do the next right thing, and hold on, it's gonna stop. And my sponsor that I had for, you know, 12 years, he would always say, it's not do the next right thing, it's do the right thing. And I think in, you know, any situation, we know what the right thing to do is. And I think that's probably when things started to change in my life, was when my mom, my dad, and my stepmom started realizing that it wasn't just that I wasn't drinking or using, it was that I was doing the right thing, being honest. Honesty is a huge thing to my dad. Huge. That I think that's when the change started happening, you know. I think also, you know, like when I was working in a treatment facility, obviously that was like a big deal. My dad, you know, the treatment facility that I worked at, you know, my dad knew the doctor that was the medical director for years and years there. And, you know, he would say things to my dad like, Peter's like one of the best counselors, you know, that we've like ever had. Like, people request him and stuff. And my dad would just be like floored, you know, like, and I mean, and this was a doctor that my dad respected. So for that doctor to tell my dad good things about me, you know, my dad hadn't heard good things about me in a really long time from other people. And so I think that's when things really started to change, you know. And I think with my mom, things started to change. My stepmom was probably the last. She's very smart when it comes to addiction, and I think she was very savvy back then about not trusting me. Always loved me, but was always a tough lover, if that makes sense. Like, you know, like, no bullshit. Like, this is how it's gonna be. And I'm thankful for that, you know. I think had she not set some boundaries and limits with my dad, I don't even think I'd be here today. I just don't. And I'm so thankful for her for that. But, you know, with my mom, I think it started changing when, you know, she and I were both sober together, talking sobriety. It's like, you know, a bullshitter can spot a bullshitter. So it's like when I think she knew I was the real deal when we're sitting there talking, and, you know, I'm talking about people that I know that she knows, and we're talking about recovery. It's like if I had been talking out of my ass, it's like, it's kind of sad. But like, so since I've been sober for so long, and I, you know, go to meetings and whatever, whenever I'm talking to somebody and they don't really work, and like I say, get sober the way that you want to. As long as you're sober, I'm happy for you. Okay, as long as you're making, you know, positive changes in your life. Where's Valerie's car? Oh, right there. But as long as you're sober today, more power to you, you know? However you do that, I mean, I think there's lots of different ways to do it. I just hope you're not just one day using and the next day white knuckling it and sitting in your house trying not to use and replacing that, because we use because there's a lot of internal shit that we have. That's all I wish for you. But, you know, I know so many people that what's in my pocket? Oh, my keys. I'm still not used to that. My new keys. There's so many people that, like, I don't even know why they do it, but like when they talk, they want you to believe that they're sober. So they'll say things about like meetings or like program stuff. And like when you're in it for so long, it's like you're bilingual, really. I mean, it's like, do you dream in that language, if that makes sense? God, why am I saying that so much tonight? I apologize, you guys. But it's like you dream in a second language. So it's second nature to you. I mean, you can spot it a mile away when somebody's saying something that, I mean, even in meetings, because we sit in a meeting and somebody will be saying like something about how they're working a 4-step, and you're like, they've never worked a 4-step. I mean, you know it. You don't say it. You don't call them out or anything, because for whatever reason, they feel like they need to say that or do that or whatever. I can tell you back in the day when I was, you know, going to meetings, court-ordered meetings, and I had no desire to be there, I said some shit that I thought sounded good, just so, you know, I probably looked like a fool, you know? I mean, I probably did. People probably knew, because people would say to me, there was a saying, and people would say to me, keep coming back. And, you know, it's a real kind way of saying, you don't get it yet, see? But if you keep coming back, you will. Keep coming back. And I'm thankful. I used to piss me off so bad when I first got sober that people would tell me, I'd be like, why are they telling me to come back? I'm coming back. You know? But they probably were like, he does not understand this at all, so he better just keep on coming back. And I did, you know? Does this hat not make me so much look like Ernest Hemingway and Old Man in the Sea? That is totally how I feel tonight. Okay, I'm going into the casino. And, I am going to, if I come back and it's not super, super late, it's 12:39 a.m. right now. God knows how long I'll be in there. I'm not taking that much money in there. I'm taking like $100. Then I will vlog for a little bit more. And if I am there and it's late when I'm on my way home, then I love you guys and I will see you tomorrow, and I'm going to end the vlog here. So I guess I don't know. You'll have to wait and see. Bye. I love you. All right. Well, I'm gonna vlog for just a couple more minutes. I'm actually back in Indianapolis. We played for a while and we did really well for a while and then not so well for a while, so we left. It's freezing in Indianapolis. It's literally dropped like all the way down. It's really cold. All of my drink. What is going on with this stupid camera? All the drinks are gone. All my drinks are gone. I was actually sitting in the parking lot of this bank reading comments from the vlog from the last day and a half. Thank you guys so much for all the support about LA. It was really fun to read the comments and what you guys liked and whatever. And it was funny because I called Rich while I was at the casino, because tonight is his last night in LA, and he was kind of like telling me what he was doing today and how much fun it was and all that kind of stuff. And he was like, I'm so glad that we finally got to meet up. And I said, you know, it's so funny. I was just talking about this on my vlog last night. I said, it really felt like we've been friends for like, you know, like old friends for years. And it was just like we were meeting up. He goes, I feel the same way. And I was like, okay, well, because I had told him before he left, I said, I'm going to come out to Houston when I get back from LA. Like, and, you know, because he's been asking me to come out there and do videos and stuff and like just hang out and whatever. So I said, okay, when I get back between Miami and LA, I'm gonna come out to Houston for a weekend. And he said, okay. And he was real excited about it. And then he called me literally the night before I was leaving, and he was like, I'm coming to LA. And it was kind of a last minute thing because he was, you know, coming for the Jeffree Star Morphe collab thing. And so he didn't know that until like the last minute that he was going, I think. So anyway, but he was real excited about it, and it was fun. We got to, you know, talk about our trips and stuff. I'm glad people enjoyed like seeing us together. Well, I mean, the majority of people enjoyed seeing us together, and it was good. It was so, you know, I don't know. And he was like, I felt the same way. He was like, it was so weird. He was like, he goes, it was so fun because we like, I mean, we showed what was on, you know, the video and stuff like that, but there was so much of us just kind of like hanging around talking and stuff like that. And it was just, it was fun. It was really fun. And but I wanted to say a couple things because I talked about on here about like reaching out to some YouTubers and YouTubers like not getting back to me and things like that. I texted Shane, and Shane got right back to me and said that he was really, really busy getting the conspiracy thing done and that he wished he could meet up, and he just couldn't right now. So I totally understood that. It wasn't like, and he literally like texted me like right back. And some of the other people that I reached out to, it wouldn't be anybody that you guys would guess, if that makes sense, of people that did not respond to me. So, you know, Trisha actually did reach out to me and say, how long are you in LA? And, you know, I think she's really going through some stuff right now. And I was actually supposed to possibly meet up with, it's so weird, like, what you're supposed to talk about or maybe not talk about or whatever, but I was gonna maybe have lunch with, like, a couple other people. I was gonna maybe have lunch with, like, that, and that just didn't end up happening because of scheduling, and, you know, and they're busy. These are, like, they're not about, like, let's just meet up with lunch with Peter Monn, you know, I mean, they have really busy schedules, so, and I understand that. But there were just some people that I reached out to that at first were like, real, you know, yeah, let's do this, and then didn't do it, and whatever, and, but I think actually of all the people that I reached out to, by the time that I got back to Indianapolis, there was only one person that did not, I didn't have, actually, this is, you know, I didn't have anybody that just flat out said no, which was kind of weird to me, you know, and I've actually, this is what's really weird. Are you guys ready? So I know that not everybody loved the Thomas Halbert video, but after some people watched it, some people that I didn't expect that would watch it, they said they really liked the style of the video, and they really liked seeing Loie and I together, and reached out to me and asked me to collab. So I have some, I may be back in LA before the summer, which I'm excited about. Yeah, so, but I didn't want that to, like, I didn't want people to think badly about, I mean, you know, people, and I don't want to be the source of that, at least. I wanted, you know, to make sure that people knew that a lot of these people that I had reached out to did, you know, did get back to me and things like that. But, and I didn't, and honestly, it wasn't like I reached out to like 15 people. I reached out to like, I don't know, a handful of people, but it was weird. Like when I got back, I started thinking about people. I was like, God, why didn't I think about that person? Or why didn't I reach out to that person or whatever? So don't feel bad for me. Like, I had the time of my life. I really, really did. I had a great time, and yeah. It was fun. I think, like, one of the things that it's done for me is it's made me, like, want to broaden out outside of just, let's say, the 10 YouTubers that I talk about or know, and made me really want to get some YouTuber, like, start watching some YouTubers and maybe, like, reaching out to them that I don't know. I'd also like to do some videos with maybe some YouTubers that are, say, you know, 35 to 50, that are closer in my age range, you know, like, I would really enjoy doing that too. But the hard thing with that is that the majority of YouTubers are under 30. So, it was weird because we were sitting, like, I was talking to Loie, like, in the living room, and she was like, who's somebody that you would absolutely, like, just love to sit down and talk with? And I said, Tana Mojo, I think. And she was like, really? And she goes, she picked up her phone, and I go, what are you doing? She's like, would you want me to text her? I go, no. I go, that makes me nervous. Like, I need to be prepared for that. And she was like, why? And she was like, I think she might be willing to do it. I go, do you really think? She goes, yeah. And I was like, oh no. But I would, like, I'd like to sit down and talk to her, you know, and be like, I just think that she has, I don't know. I know a lot of people that watch my vlog have no clue who she is, probably. But I think that, I hate when people say like, somebody has so much potential, but I think she has so much potential, even more so than she even realizes right now. I mean, like, she has, like, I mean, for her age, she's a colossal force to be reckoned with. I just wish that the message that she was sending out, I'm not saying that she has to completely be, you know, this cleaned up act and all this kind of stuff. I'm not saying that, you know. I'm saying that, like, I think instead of maybe always doing funny story time, she could talk about a great lesson that she learned every once in a while and be impacting her viewers. Like, I don't think she really realizes she's changing lives, you know, she's impacting lives. And I think that, you know, it's important to remember that. But it was a great trip. Rich was like, he was like, are you so happy to be home with your dogs? I was like, I am so happy to be home with my dogs. I said, I had a great time. I said, but it was just so fast. And, he was like, yeah, he was like, I've had a really great time. He's like, but I miss my apartment and just getting back and filming and stuff like that. And, so yeah, it was good. That was, there's like a billboard with Cher, and oh, Cher's coming here on that. It said Cher Valentine's Day. I was like, does Cher have a new album coming out? No, she's gonna be here on Valentine's Day. I don't love this hat, and I don't really have any other hats right now. I mean, I have tons of hats, but I don't have any really other hats right now that are just kind of like gray, or they have salted the roads, and I am not sure why. If we're supposed to get like, can you hear it all kicking up? I'm not sure if we're supposed to be getting a bunch of snow or something. It was snowing on my way back from the casino, but just kind of like spitting snow. It was pretty. Somebody had messaged me on Instagram and said that, it was so funny, that, so Lucas Cruikshank, that was in the Fred movies. He's like a big YouTuber, a huge YouTuber. And that he and his brother have a podcast, which I wasn't even aware of, and that they had like talked about me, or like he had talked about me in the podcast. And I was like trying to figure out which podcast it was and whatever, and she had said the newest one. So I like downloaded it, and that was the podcast I was listening to earlier, and listened to it, and it was funny because they were talking on there about like what the term good Judy means, or best Judy means, because I say that all the time in my, well, they weren't saying it about me, they were saying like on the RuPaul's Drag Race, the last episode was that everybody on the show, like their best friend came, and they had to put their best friend in drag. And he was like, I didn't know that until I saw the show that it had like historical relevance. And he was like, I just always heard Peter Monn in his videos call his best friend his good Judy. And they said, what did they say? They were like, yeah, I think it's like, it means like back in the day, like if you were gay, because it was so, you know, like it was illegal, and at times, and before that, you know, people were institutionalized and stuff for it, that, you know, people didn't talk about it, so they would say things like, well, they said something about being a good Judy. Well, what happened was, okay, so Judy Garland was like this gay icon. I was like shouting at the podcast. I was like, oh my God, this is what it really is. So anyway, I mean, it's not like I always knew it. I can't remember how old I was when I learned, but I think Judy Garland died on June 28th, because it's the day before my birthday, and it's the Stonewall riots. So the Stonewall riots were at the Stonewall Inn in New York, and the police came in and they raided the bar, and there were a lot of drag queens there, and the drag queens fought back. If you've ever get a chance to see this documentary on Netflix about Marsha P. Washington, or Marsha P. Johnson, it is fantastic. It is so, so good. And she was one of the people, the Stonewall riot, that fought. And it started the gay rights revolution. Like, that's what started it. And it was the death of Judy Garland, basically. I mean, the death of Judy Garland didn't start it, but she was such a gay icon, and it happened right then. And, which is always so weird to me that it's like my birthday, you know, that it takes place. And, So anyway, I think it also has a lot to do with white pride. Like, because for me, when I was like out, like when I was younger, Pride weekend was always that weekend. It always like was the weekend of my birthday, and I always thought it was because of the Stonewall riots. But anyway, back in the day, people would say, "Are you a friend of Dorothy's?" Kind of like how in Alcoholics Anonymous, people say like, "Are you a friend of Bill W's?" Who was one of the co-founders of Alcoholics Anonymous, Dr. Bob and Bill W. And so people, like, even today, will, you know, they think they know you from meetings, would say, like, "Are you a friend of Bill W's?" So back in the day, if they thought you were gay or they had seen you out or whatever, they would say, "Are you a friend of Dorothy's?" And that was how, and there was actually, I saw this movie, like, God, in my 20s. It was like this short film, and it was called Friend of Dorothy. And that's how it all started. Well, then from there, they started calling everybody good, like my best Judy, my good Judy, because it was like associated with, you know, everybody loved Judy Garland back then. I can remember my mom talking about that, like her gay friends when she was in college and stuff, that they loved Judy Garland. They absolutely just loved her, loved her, loved her. Which is funny because one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid was The Wizard of Oz, which is interesting, okay, because there have actually been thesis papers written, like published thesis papers, on how The Wizard of Oz is actually an analogy for coming out. And that when Dorothy goes to The Wizard of Oz, all of a sudden it's color. And that's the coming out process of her. I mean, this is not actually what the movie is about, okay? I mean, we know that's not what the movie is about. But there's like, you know, they've done all this, like, you know, what it could represent, the symbology behind it, that, I mean, I guess we don't. I mean, Frank Baum, who wrote the books, it could be, I don't know. But that it's actually about, there are potholes all over Indianapolis. It's horrible. Every winter, it's like the ice peels up the street, and then, but anyway, and then when she, like, comes to Oz, she meets, like, you know, the Tin Man, who, you know, it's all about, like, the lessons you learn, and the friends she meets teach her these lessons, you know, about courage, about confidence, about, you know, having heart, things like that, which are all these lessons that you learn in coming out about yourself, you know, and, although I don't think that's what the movie is about, I think it's kind of an interesting analogy, you know? Do you guys hear the wind outside? It's crazy. I'll tell you what's interesting in talking about, like, YouTubers I like to meet up with. Like, one of the people I really like to meet up with is Kyle Kreger, and he's a hairstylist on YouTube. But his videos aren't all about hairstyle. And he got sober, and I actually was introduced to his channel because he did a TED Talks about getting sober. And Alex just loves him and watches all of his videos, and I mean, he's a really good-looking guy, too. But his message is so pure, and he's somebody that I would really like to, like, do a video with about sobriety. Who else? So many people, you know. I just love meeting people and hearing about their stories, you know? I mean, it doesn't have to be somebody that has, you know, a huge following or anything like that. Actually, this guy in LA, we've, like, followed each other on Instagram, and so he's just always real supportive of me. But he has a YouTube channel, and it's not huge, and he asked me that. He was like, said, I can't remember even how he said it, but it was like very, very humble, very sweet. And he was like, if you come back out here, would you do a video with me? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you who I would love to do a video with is Letty from Letty's Life. I can't even imagine, like, she and I sitting down talking. Although that would be like a 3-day, 3 days of vlogs. Some of you guys know her from my vlog because she made a video about me and she vlogs, and her vlogs are fantastic. I would just love to sit down with her. I mean, Tanya and I used to joke about how we were going to go visit her in her cabin. Tanya loves her too. She's somebody that, like, on YouTube that I wish would just, like, blow up and people would, like, find her, and I've shouted her out in videos, but I just wish she would blow up because, like, she has such a great message and she just is so, like, real and authentic. I'm so attracted to that with people that I watch on YouTube or just in life, I think, you know, that they're just, they get it, like, they get it, you know, and I love that about her. Maybe one day we'll do that. I actually planned a collab today that I'm going to be doing and flying to, but it's not in LA. That I'm probably going to be doing in April. And then there's another one that I've been talking to somebody about, but I don't know when that's going to happen, but that would be kind of a long weekend. Well, both of those would be. So, I asked Alex, I was like, do you want to go? And he was like, well, I don't know that I can go for all of those, if you know. And he was like, are you going to be doing this like once a month? I go, well, I mean, I can't afford to go once a month. I said, unless I can get like real cheap flights and stuff like that, you know, but, if we can make it happen, it'd be nice to do it, you know, little time, you know, whatever. So, it's fun. It's exciting meeting new people, you know, and asking, you know, like, hey, do you want to do this? Oh my God, yes, I have the greatest ideas. Like, let's do this. And all this. It's weird, like, when people, like, say, I have an idea for a video that I want to do with you. Like, because I don't think that people think of me that way, if that makes sense. Like, of how they would have me in their video. You know, like, when Chloe and I were talking, she was like, I really want to do body positivity with you because I know you've struggled, like, with your own weight issues and you've talked a lot about it and stuff. And I was like, okay. Like, you know, I'd love to do that. And, so that was fun. I like when people like see that because, but it's weird at the same time. I'm like, it's still like the idea, like this is gonna sound strange that I get into a car and I talk to you guys like every night, but the idea that there is somebody on the other side watching my videos, it's still kind of bizarre to me sometimes, like really it is. I love that these cars are just driving by me when this ambulance is coming. Do people not know that you're supposed to stop? Like, it's still kind of, like, bizarre to me that there are people, like, on the other side that are watching it. I don't know, you know, like, it's just, like, I know that you guys watch, like, I get it, right? But, like, until I meet somebody in person and they, like Loie knew so much about my channels, like all of them. And she, like, knew specific things that I said. Like, she remembered specific things that I had said in my videos. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that I had talked about that on video. You know, and it just was weird. And she was asking me questions about, like, certain things that I had said. And I was like, you really do watch my videos. She's like, I've watched your videos for a long time. And, like, I don't know, it's surreal to me, kind of, you know? It's like when, like, somebody posted a picture of my book and they had just read it, and, like, this was today, and then they, like, put this really nice thing out of it, and they said, they gave it a 4 out of 5, or 4.5 out of 5. They didn't love the insta-love. A lot of people don't like the insta-love in my book because, like, they fall in love, like, really, like, that quick. But I'm like, that is who I am. Like, I fall in love so quick. Like, I do not waste time. Like, if I'm with somebody and I'm like, oh my God, like, this was how I was with Alex. I was like, I could be with this person for the rest of my life. I know right away. It doesn't take me long, you know, to fall in love. It just doesn't. And, like, I've been on dates before, literally, where I'm like 2 minutes into the date, and I'm like, we should just go home. This is a waste of my time. Hold on, it's gonna stop. And I'm sure they felt the same way. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just one-sided. But have you ever been on a date before where you're like, this is such a waste of my time? Like, what am I even doing here? But then you're on other dates. Like, Alex and I both said, like, you know, we've said this for years, that the date that we went on, our first date, was like the best date that we had ever had in our lives. Like, it just was. And it wasn't anything special. I mean, we just went to this Italian restaurant here in town that's a chain restaurant, and then, you know, we got coffee after. Well, I got coffee afterwards, I think, and then we like walked around a little bit, or drove around a little bit and talked, and, you know, went back. And that was, I mean, it wasn't like, we sat there for 2 hours, we didn't finish our meals, and we just like talked. It wasn't anything like hugely deep, you know, and but it was so comfortable. And I think part of it was, like, I had no expectations going into that date whatsoever. Like, I didn't want a relationship. He didn't want a relationship, definitely. And, I can remember, like, I had canceled, like, twice before. And, I had called my friend, and he had said, like, I said, I don't even want to go on this date. This was, like, the day of the date. I said, there's no point. And I, at that time, had decided that I was probably going to move to Colorado. And he said, just go on the date. He's like, you know, worst thing is you have a nice date, you meet and make a new friend. He's like, just, it doesn't have to be that deep. And I was like, you're right. So I went. And, I mean, I just never expected. I just really didn't, you know. And so here we are, 10 plus years later. So crazy to me. But, like, I did. Like, I knew within 2 weeks that I was in love with Alex. Like, I knew that. Like, I knew it in my heart. And, or at least maybe I knew the capacity of love that I could have for him. I think maybe that makes more sense to me if I say it that way. Like, that feels, I don't know. I mean, I definitely wasn't in love with him the way that I am today. But, like, I knew that I could be. The temperature just keeps on dropping, and this whatever snow we've had tonight is like just blowing like crazy across the winds. We were supposed to across the road. We were supposed to like supposedly have like 40-degree winds tonight. It doesn't feel that windy driving my car, but it sure looks windy outside. Like what I showed you guys earlier, it's like so much worse now. But anyway, so yeah, somebody like put a picture of my book up on Instagram and said that they gave it a 4.5 out of 5 and they loved it. And like that means so much to me. But like at the same time, it's like so weird. Like when I think about my book, I don't actually think about like my book sitting there with like the cover on it. What I think about is writing the book and sitting there at the computer writing. I wrote it in 3.5 weeks. Sitting there writing the book, and PP would be sleeping like right at my feet, or like, on the chair or whatever, and just sitting there writing. Like, that's what I think about, like, in terms of my book. I don't actually think of, like, this book, this physical, I think of the process. And so the fact that, like, somebody, and I remember, like, I remember writing specific scenes and things, and there's a scene in the book that I love, because it's very reminiscent of my mom. And, well, there's a couple scenes, but there's a scene in the book where they have this like dinner party. It's not like a dinner party, but it's like everybody's having dinner, and then they go outside and they're dancing, and Danny, the main character, is kind of standing back watching, and he's observing the whole situation. And I felt like that my whole life. Like, I'm just observing things, I'm not really part of it, which I think is something that's happened to me more since I've been on YouTube, is that I'm more participating instead of just observing in life, which is really good for me, because I've always just hung back a lot. And that scene, and then the scene where it's the last time they're gonna be, or he's gonna be, in the house that he grew up in, and he and his mom, like, they find this, she looks for this penny, and they bury this penny underneath a tree, which was almost like an exact story that happened between my mom and I, but we didn't bury the penny. I don't know, like, when somebody reached out to me recently and told me that they are doing their entire senior or sophomore, like they're taking a whole semester just on like coming out literature, and they're using my book as part of their like thing because like my book impacted them so much. Like that's a pretty good feeling, you know, that these characters that you created that are living out there somewhere have affected somebody or made them think differently about the world or themselves, you know, by characters in a book. And that's what I love about writing. I got, you know, it's weird. I got really inspired. So, there's an author that I used to love back in the day, and the author's name is J.T. Leroy. But there's this huge scandal surrounding J.T. Leroy because J.T. Leroy was supposedly this young kid that wrote a book at 17. Well, it came out later that was actually this adult woman, and there was this huge scandal around it. And he wrote very kind of William S. Burroughs-ish, out there, Allen Ginsberg kind of literature and prose. She did, I guess. Her name's Lauren something. And a couple of her, The Hardest Deceitful Above All Things, and Sarah are two, like, very raw, I will tell you, but fantastic books. And I read them years ago. Somebody recommended them to me. That was when I read, like, a lot of artsy literature. But anyway, people, like, celebrities became obsessed. Like, Courtney Love and Tom Waits and Winona Ryder and like these cult celebrities became obsessed with J.T. Leroy. Well, I was when we were over at Thomas Halbert's, his videographer. I was talking about, like, do you read? It was like, she said she reads a lot, and we were talking about what books that like we read and stuff. And she said, I'm really into this author that I just watched this documentary about on Amazon Prime, and the documentary is called Author J.T. Leroy. And I go, oh my God, there's a documentary? And she goes, do you know who J.T. Leroy is? I said, are you kidding me? I said, I read like all of J.T. Leroy's work like when I was like in my 20s, my early 20s. I think it was like right after I got sober that they came out. And yeah, because they say like 1996, 94, and so it would have been like around the time that I got sober, I think. She's like, well, the documentary is fantastic, but very weird. And she was like, because it wasn't done that great. I went back to the hotel room and I watched like 3/4 of it, and it is fantastic. It is so well done, but so bizarre. So bizarre when you hear the story. And you can watch the documentary first and then read the books. It won't ruin it for you. I mean, you'll get a little bit of an idea of what the books are about, but it won't, like, ruin it for you. Especially The Hardest Deceitful Above All Things. But that's not my favorite. Sarah, I thought, was better than that. I mean, from a literature point of view. And the documentary is so bizarre, you guys. I mean, when you watch it, it is like, it's actually probably one of the better documentaries that I've seen. And like in the last year. But when I was watching it, and then when I was watching Can You Forgive Me with Melissa McCarthy, like on the plane ride home, it was so weird because it really made me want to start writing voraciously again. Like, I started having all these ideas, and I just haven't been writing a whole lot lately. I just haven't, you know, I haven't just felt real passionate or motivated about it. And so yeah, and then there was this interesting, like, there's this interesting thing that goes back and forth. It's like, this won't ruin it for you, I'm not spoiling it. And I will tell you that Can You Forgive Me with Melissa McCarthy is not for everybody. I loved it. I thought it was a great character study, but I could see that, like Tanya was like, would I like it? And I go, yeah, I don't think you really would, honestly. And but there's a part in there where somebody says to her, writers need to write. That writers write because writers need to write. And then this woman later corrects her, I think it's her agent, and she goes, writers need to be read. So if nobody's reading your work, why are you doing it? And you know, I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. Like, for me, the process of writing the book was so cathartic and just so fun. And then I was thinking back about that, about all of the writing that I've done in my life that's never even been out there into the world. You know, it's just, it's sitting in a folder in my basement that I've never put out there. I mean, tons of poetry. I used to love, the poetry, it kind of bores me now, but I used to write poetry so much back in the day. I loved writing poetry, just free verse poetry. And I don't know. And the thing is about watching this JT Leroy thing, you know, when they were talking about that, like, her voice was just so raw and authentic and all this kind of stuff, it made me like want to like reach inside to the deepest recesses of my heart and find those stories that need to be told. Maybe not the stories that are comfortable hearing, but maybe the stories that need to be told. Maybe the stories that are relatable to people. And it kind of shifted my memoir a little bit. Not my memoir, but my stories from my childhood. It kind of shifted it for me a little bit, because I started looking at the stories that I'm telling, and I thought, you're playing it awfully safe with some of these stories. Like, maybe you really need to really show, like, I mean, I talk about my mom being an alcoholic when I was growing up, but maybe I really need to show, you know, maybe I need to show the story of not being able to get into the house at 2 o'clock in the morning, and, you know, I'd come home from my friend's house, you know, when I was in 8th grade or something, and, you know, like, walked back home, and it's pitch black, and I'm walking around the house at midnight, because he lived one street over, and I can't get in the house because my mother's passed out in the bed upstairs, and I'm so pissed that I kicked up, you know, when I finally got inside, and I'm like next to her bed, and she won't wake up, and I'm scared, but I'm angry at the same time, and I kick so hard that my shoe goes through the wall, like, and just sticks there. It's penny loafer. You know, like, maybe those are the stories that I need to be telling. I think sometimes, you know, as people that are creative, we're afraid of the stories that we need to tell because we don't want to bring them to life again, or, you know, expose those parts of ourselves because they're so raw and vulnerable. But in reality, I think those are the ones that need to be told. And those are the ones that I always relate to when I read, or when I watch a movie, or when I watch a documentary, you know? And that's just one example, and that example is, like, really not that big of a deal. I've probably even talked about it on here. I don't know, maybe, you know? So it kind of made me really start reevaluating things, and as a fiction writer, you know, really wanting to write some things that make people think, or make me think, you know, make myself surprised by the character, what the character does. I enjoy reading, but sometimes I think that writing is too safe. And I'm trying to think of a book that I read recently that would be a good example of writing that's not safe. Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, Dumplin' by Julie Murphy is this movie about this girl that's heavier, and she doesn't want to lose weight. And if you read the book and not just watch the movie, because in the movie, she doesn't really come across this way, but in the book, she's not very nice most of the time. She's not nice to people. She just isn't. You know, they don't really show this in the movie, but in the book, like, her friend kind of stops being her friend because she's really mean to her friend. And she's mean to a lot of people, including her mom. And I think that was part of what I was so attracted to with Willow Dean in the book, was that authentic, genuine part of her that is so relatable, that resistance to not want to change all these things about you because society says you should, or, you know what I mean? Like, or always, I mean, we're not always the nicest people. And if she had been the whole time, then the book wouldn't have been the same, because she goes through this cathartic change throughout the book, you know? And, I don't know, that's such a fantastic book. I used to read a lot more experimental literature. That's not experimental, but I used to read a lot more experimental literature when I was, like, younger. Sometimes it kind of bores me now, honestly. I feel like, why am I wasting my time with this? I definitely think that, you know, like, maybe not today, but I think it came out in 61. To Kill a Mockingbird in 61 was definitely, an experimental novel. Like, and I definitely think that Harper Lee took a lot of risks. And look, it's today deemed, I mean, I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but it is called the Great American Novel, you know? And you think about that. And it discusses some very harsh topics. And I think to some degree, isn't that what art should do? It should push the boundaries of what we believe and what we know to be true, and challenge a different way of thinking. You know, I love when I, like, do a Peterisms video, which I cannot wait to get back on and make tomorrow. But, you know, like, when I do a Peterisms video, or in my vlog when I'm talking about somebody, or talking about something, and somebody says, I really needed to hear this tonight, I never thought of it that way. Like, I love when people say that I made somebody open up and look at something a different way. Because for me, that is such a gift when somebody does that for me. You know, when somebody shows me a different perspective, I mean, it's a paradigm shift. You know, and all of a sudden I look at something in a completely different way, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, it's like, so there's this Oprah, I've talked about this on here before, but there's this Oprah episode with Dr. Phil where this woman's daughter was murdered, and she hasn't changed anything. And she tells the story of what happened, about how her daughter was killed, and she was left on the side of the road like a piece of trash, and all this kind of stuff. And it's been like 20 years and she hasn't changed anything. And Dr. Phil says to her, the only thing he says to her at the end, I mean, he says some other stuff, but like the one line that really resonates with her is, he said, do you think instead of focusing on the day that she died, you could celebrate the 18 years that she was alive? And she cocks her head and she looks at him and she says, I never thought of it that way. You know, and like Oprah, even like afterwards, like when this is on her aha moments on her DVD, she even kind of says, she goes, I never thought of it that way. You know, like she says to herself, you know, that, and she says, you could just see the look over her. You can see the look on her face, this woman's face. These two potholes right here that I've now driven by twice, because I'm just kind of circling around. You can see it. She never thought of it that way. It never crossed her mind. What a powerful gift when somebody does that for us, you know? I have people that do that to me all the time. You know? I remember one night, you know, and talking to Tanya about a friend of mine, and she said, your expectations are way too high for an active alcoholic. And I thought to myself, oh my God. Oh my God, you know? And then in talking to another friend of mine years ago, 15 years ago, you know, I've always accepted how people talk to me. Like, I still struggle with this. When people say shit about me, or when people talk about me, I just accept it. I don't fight it. I don't really care, quite frankly, today, because that says more about them than it does about me. It really doesn't say much about me whatsoever at all. Like, I'm a believer in that. You know, like, that's the whole Maya Angelou Oprah discussion about you're not in that. Like, people that talk about you, that sit there and spin things, you know, that's about them. I mean, that's the ugliness of their heart. It really says nothing about you whatsoever. But I remember talking to a friend of mine, and she said, like, she had gotten into a fight with her husband, and he had said something to her, and she said, I told him, you must not think very highly of me to think that it's okay to speak to me that way. And it was like, boom, in my face. You know, it was perspective change. You must not think very highly of me to think that it's okay to speak to me that way. And I'm not talking about people that don't like us. I'm not talking about people that belittle us, that make fun of us or whatever. I mean, I think we already know how they feel about us. I'm talking about people in our lives. This can be our family. This can be our parents. This can be grandparents. This can be siblings, friends, close friends, you know? I think we've all had a family member or a close friend of ours before in our lives that say very hurtful things to us, and we accept it and we excuse it away because of their role in our lives, which is the definition of toxicity. Absolutely the definition of toxicity, right? That we accept. It's snowing like crazy right now. It's very pretty though. That we accept that. And we allow it. Oh, the battery's going to stop here in a second. But that we accept it and we allow that because of their role in our lives. You must not think very highly of me to think it's okay to talk to me that way. I think that's powerful, you know? And I think it's, you know, important for us to see different sides and different perspectives of ourselves and to open up to that. And I think that's where real change occurs, you know? And being willing to say, okay, I might not like the source of where this is coming from, but can I be open to the message and maybe what they think I need to change? Am I willing to look at different things? I mean, I've done that a lot in the last 6 months of the year, you know, is take a look at myself. A lot of parts of myself that I didn't want to take a look at, you know? But it's helped me become a better person. It's helped me to see myself in a different way. And I'm happy about that, you know? Because I think it's not a dress rehearsal, and I want to enjoy the best life possible, you know? Teachers come in many forms. Teachers don't always come the way that we want them to come, you know? Teachers come in many forms, so. Well, this has been a longer vlog tonight than I thought it would be. I didn't think I would actually vlog after the casino, so. I'm gonna get off here. The battery's about to die. I actually have 2 batteries now, but my other battery's at home, so what good is that doing me? I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.